The first thing that marijuana does is flood you with dopamine, which increases pattern recognition. Some people get paranoid or anxious when they're on pot because the first thing that happens when they start getting more signals is they interpret those signals as anxiety inducing because they're getting too much data and they don't know what to do with it. But maybe that's just they smoke too much pot. A little less pot in the right environment might flood them with the same dopamine, but instead they're getting this dopamine hit at a pace they can absorb. And then they start connecting the dots in a new way without being overwhelmed. And then it can be real positive. And then whatever's in front of you is more likely to register emotionally. And then you're like, holy shit, I'm getting all these interesting ideas and da-da-da-da-da-da. And again, I think anything that cultivates a capacity to be present will do this. But that cannabis increases reactivity to stimuli, both from within and from without. So when you make yourself more porous to the incoming signals, you're disinhibiting the inhibitory functions of the mind. You're making yourself a little more, I don't want to say crazy, but you're making yourself a little more like a person who's paying attention to the seemingly irrelevant and then connecting the dots in a new way. And I think these things exist on a spectrum. So what you want to do, it's not like on, off. What you want to be able is to kind of move the knob and bring it to a place where you're like getting more pattern recognition, but not to a place where you're seeing patternicity and seeing patterns where there are none. That's a different thing, but they're all both on a spectrum, right? Here is very limited things are connecting for you. You're very, very, very sober. Here it's like, oh, the dots are connecting. I'm seeing increased information and increased data, but it's at a rate that's interpretable and useful. And then all the way up here, it's like, okay, I'm seeing patterns everywhere. And this is like somebody who got too stoned at a party and is getting really paranoid because they think everybody can tell they're high. That's really just them misreading a situation because they have too much dopamine and too much pattern recognition. And so they're actually seeing patterns that aren't there.